Hello everyone, this is Second Viewings, and today I'm rewatching Memento. Released in 2000, this is one of Christopher Nolan's first major films, and it's definitely a movie that helps you stand out as a filmmaker. The movie centers around Leonard, played by Guy Pearce, and his wife was murdered, so he needs to find the man who did it. The problem is that he has terrible short-term memory loss, so he can't make any new memories. But that's not going to stop him from trying to be a detective and finding his wife's murderer. The problem is whether or not he's any good at it. Now, I will be revealing major spoilers throughout this review, so if you haven't seen this movie and you don't want it ruined, I suggest stopping this video right now. I saw this movie after watching Inception and thought Christopher Nolan was the greatest director of all time. He's still pretty great, I'm just not that obsessed anymore. I knew nothing about this movie the first time I saw it, and the way the story was told really threw me off. For those of you who don't know, Memento is the epitome of a movie being told out of order. The movie starts off with a black and white clip, and this is supposed to be the beginning of the story. However, the next clip is in color, and despite the fact that this is the beginning of the movie, this is actually the end of the story. We know this because one of the main characters gets killed off during the first 10 minutes of the movie.
You really are. No!
So to sum up, the black and white clips will move the story forwards while the color clips will tell the story backwards. These two sets of clips will meet up at the end of the movie. You got that? Good, because I sure didn't the first time I saw this. Because I didn't know what to expect, I was completely lost during the first 15 minutes of this movie. I noticed that the color parts were being told backwards, so I just decided to pay attention to those bits. I thought the idea of telling a story backwards was fascinating, so when the black and white bits started up, I just kind of stopped paying attention and waited until the color bits started up again. So I didn't remember a whole lot from this movie, but one thing I did remember is that Trinity from The Matrix, or Natalie, played by Carrie-Anne Moss, is a horrible, manipulative person. And Teddy, the guy who we're told not to trust, turns out to be the only guy we should trust. Sort of. One scene that stood out the most was this one.
You can't get scared, but hey, can you get angry?
Yes.
Oh, you pathetic piece of shit. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and you won't have a fucking clue, you fucking retard.
Shut your mouth.
You know what? I'm gonna use you. I'm telling you now because I'm gonna enjoy it so much more if I know that you could stop me if you weren't such a fucking freak.
And I know that the supposed good person who turns out to be malicious is an age-old trope, but I cannot say I saw this coming. Now before I start this review in perspective, I know that there is a lot to analyze in this movie, and I am not even going to try to do a deep analysis. I'll do a little bit of analysis, but I don't want this video to be an hour long. So, what did I think of this movie the second time? Since most people say you have to watch this movie a second time to understand it, I'm not going to feel too bad about missing a lot of details. But yeah, I missed a lot of details. Now a lot of these are small details, like I forgot that Leonard is an insurance claims investigator. I forgot that he's doing all this private investigation because his wife was murdered. I forgot he even had a wife, and a lot of small details like that. One major part I completely forgot about was the story of Sammy Jankis. Throughout the film, Leonard keeps saying,
"Remember Sammy Jankis."
This is a character who also had short-term memory loss and could not make any new memories. Leonard knows him because he was the one investigating his insurance claim. To make a long story short, Sammy's insurance claim was eventually denied, and this resulted in his wife's death.
Sammy, it's time for my shot.
She went into a coma and never recovered. Sammy couldn't understand or explain what happened. He's been in a home ever since. He doesn't even know that his wife is dead.
All of this is told during the black and white clips, and as I mentioned before, I wasn't really paying attention to those parts. Which is a real shame because this is an interesting part of the movie and really put Leonard's condition into perspective. We see how Sammy and Leonard handle this problem differently and what it's like to be personally driven despite this condition.
Sammy wrote himself endless amounts of notes, but he got mixed up. I have a more graceful solution to the memory problem. I'm disciplined and organized. I use habit and routine to make my life possible. Sammy had no drive, no reason to make it work.
So it's interesting how only being invested in the backwards color parts can affect my viewing experience. Seriously, how did I zone out of such a major story point? Now, it's still difficult to comment on this movie because even after watching it again and taking extensive notes, it's still difficult to tell what's going on and what I can say about it. There are so many subtleties and questions being asked throughout this movie that are definitely worth mentioning, but my question is, are they important to the story? What I want to acknowledge right now is how well the screenplay is written. Christopher Nolan had to be very careful when revealing information because technically he's revealing major spoilers in what would be the beginning of the story. Take this pivotal scene between Leonard and Natalie.
You sad freak. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and you won't remember. We'll still be best friends. Or maybe even lovers.
What happened?
What does it look like? He beat the shit out of me.
Who?
Who? Fuck Leonard. Dodd beat the shit out of me.
This is supposed to be the mid-movie twist where we learn that this woman is manipulative and that Teddy might just be trustworthy. However, chronologically speaking, this is told towards the beginning of the part shown in color. Therefore, Nolan needed to find a way to introduce his character to the audience in a positive light so that this twist would end up being surprising.
Natalie.
You don't remember me.
I'm sorry, I should have explained. I have this...
You did explain, Lenny.
And then introduce her to Leonard in the beginning of the story in a friendly but malicious light.
On the house.
Thanks.
Also, he had to find a way to write the end at the beginning.
Let's go down, you and me together. Then you'll know who you really are. No!
And then put the film's ending twist in the middle and then write the entire narrative after that point. There are so many examples of this throughout the film, so all I have to say is, good job. Writing this script could not have been easy. So yeah, the movie's confusing, which is why I decided to watch a cut of it in chronological order. Do not watch the film like that for the first time, because the whole point of the editing is to make the audience feel just as lost as the main character. However, the movie will make a lot more sense. First of all, you get a sense that Leonard is a tragic yet horrible character in the original cut. However, that's only made clear when you watch the movie in chronological order. It's so shocking when you hear this line said at the end of the movie.
You think I just want another puzzle to solve? Another John G to look for? You're John G. So you can be my John G. Do I lie to myself to be happy? In your case, Teddy. Yes, I will.
But when you hear that towards the middle and watch the rest of the movie afterwards, you see that this guy is dangerous for the most well-intentioned reasons. He's still incredibly sharp.
Oh shit, this is the wrong room. You're in 304 now. I'm sorry, I fucked up.
This is not my room?
No, come on, let's go.
Then why is this my handwriting?
But then I rented you another room on top of it.
Why?
Business is slow. I mean, I told my boss about your condition and stuff, and he said try and rent him another room.
Well, at least you're being honest about ripping me off.
But this spiteful action in the middle of the movie ends up getting Teddy killed.
Can I just let myself forget what you've told me?
One major criticism that I had is that there's little to no explanation for Natalie's motives in this movie. To sum up, Natalie knows that Leonard is the guy with a memory problem, so she tests him to see how bad his memory is, she tests him to see how much he trusts her, showing the whole get rid of Dodd scene, and then she uses him to get rid of Teddy.
No!
The question I have is, why did she want to get rid of him in the first place? I get that he's a cop, and I know her boyfriend is a drug dealer. We also know that Teddy knows who Natalie is when he says...
When she offers to help, it'll be for her own reasons. I'm not lying. Take my pen. Write this down. Do not trust her.
So are we supposed to believe that she wants him gone simply because he's a cop? I don't know, it just didn't feel fully explained. One last thing I noticed watching this for the third time. During the Sammy Jenkins story, Leonard tests Sammy to see if he will learn through conditioning.
Pick up any 3 objects. Ta-da. Oh, What the fuck? It's a test, Sammy.
It's later revealed that Sammy was a con man, and one thing that shows this is that Leonard learns through conditioning.
From that, I have no short-term memory. I know who I am, I know all about myself. Since my injury, I can't make new memories. Everything fades. I've told you this before, haven't I?
Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to mess with you, but it's so weird. You don't remember me at all.
So that's Memento, and it didn't disappoint. This movie has been on my rewatch list for years, and I'm glad I finally got around to rewatching it, because watching this movie only once doesn't do it justice. It's interesting to watch a character who has no short-term memory, but it's even more interesting to watch it in a way where the audience feels just as lost as he is. There's also so much to analyze about this movie, whether it's how we take memory for granted, being manipulated by others, or personal drive despite major handicaps. In short, the movie is good, watch it more than once. That's my second viewing of Memento. Thank you for watching.